Okay, get ready for a really honest and personal video, alright? Let's get it. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Damon, and on this channel we usually talk about the intersection between Christianity and leftist politics, but part of my story also involves me growing up in evangelicalism and then leaving all of that. I mean, I had a job as a youth and young adults minister. I was about to get my pastoral license. I had a tremendous amount of community support through the denomination I was a part of. I had a path I was on and I was climbing it, and then it all got cut off. I'm a very futuristic thinker all the time, and so I was constantly imagining where I was going, and then all of that just got wiped clean. It was really painful. I know a lot of people who watch this channel also relate with that. People who are Christians, still Christians, but they left these certain Christian communities for Christian reasons because they chose honesty and integrity in their journey. It resulted in them leaving communities that started their spiritual journey, but then they got to a point where they felt like they outgrew it. Whether it was because they realized their theology and their commitment to Jesus led them to being more inclusive of people than the community they grew up in, or they found themselves learning things that showed the community they grew up with, the way they were teaching things, didn't fit anymore. It didn't make sense anymore. It all fell apart. I officially left in August 2017. My theology had already progressed years before that, but I spent a long time trying extremely hard to make it work anyway, in any way I possibly could. But I eventually got to the point where I literally could not do it anymore. My body was sending me messages that I needed to leave through things like depression and anxiety, irritability, physical sickness at times, and forgetfulness. A lot of forgetfulness, which made me really bad at the job I had at the time and not doing a good job at all. So if I would have stayed, then I would have eventually just gotten fired because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, because my body, my brain kept making me forget what I needed to do, because my body and my brain knew it was time to go. I once had a friend ask me, why didn't you just lie and tell them what they wanted to hear in order to stay in that position? And I was like, I couldn't, like integrity, you know? And I know there's a lot of you out there who agree with me, but there are some people out there like, well, if you're in a position to help people and you don't want to lose all kinds of friends and opportunities, just tell them what they want to hear, just lie. I'm not that kind of person. And so leaving all that was painful, but especially because of all the relationships I lost. I wanted to make it work in any way I could because of how much I deeply cared about the people I was working with. And then they were all gone. Those of you who've been through similar journeys know, in this case, when it comes to church and leaving church, you don't really have to do anything to lose 100 friends. You just have to stop showing up to that thing that you show up to all the time, and then all of a sudden, they're gone out of your life. They all stop hitting you up. They all stop responding. They're just gone. Of course, some of them were responding and stuff, but over time, quite a bit of them, even people who meant a lot to me, even people who were mentors to me at the time, just stopped responding. And of course, there are some that are still friendly with me, but it's just like maybe 2 or 3 compared to like literally 100 people that I lost in my life. And there are no personal hard feelings against any individuals and all this. I get it. I mean, everyone's living their own life. They're doing their own thing, and I'm not showing up to the thing that they're doing, so it makes sense. It's all good. Also, I know some ministry friends that I had, it's kind of awkward for them to still be friends with me, especially publicly, and so they can't really do that because I'm the heretic. Those of you who are not familiar with church world at all, I often wonder if y'all realize that conservative evangelical Christians hate people like me way more than they hate people like you, atheists, or even anti-theists out there. Because y'all are just easily dismissible, like, oh yeah, they're not about this, whatever. But me, I think they see me as like deceiving people out there, leading people astray, confusing people. That was a big thing that I got told plenty of times in my ministry times in evangelical church. Don't do that. Don't say that. Don't tell people you read that. Don't tell people you know that, because it will lead to confusion. And now I know I'm one of the people that plenty of my old ministry friends can't associate with because it would lead people to confusion. Actually, the first few videos and weekly vlogs on this channel document my last 6 months a part of this church before I left. And then after I left, I wanted to just jump fully into this progressive Christianity thing, and I started a daily vlog for a while because I wanted to make content showing what progressive Christianity is like. And now I could finally be honest about everything. That's when I started my podcast too. I was finally able to be honest. And then I just kept going on my journey and eventually found it more fulfilling to talk more on a leftist Christian angle on stuff. But last year, there was a time period of about 7 months where I barely made any videos and I did no podcasts because I got really depressed, majorly depressed. And I realized it was because I was trying to skip that necessary grieving process that I needed to go through. And I just wanted to hit the ground running and on to the next thing, on to the next community that I could find. And then that all caught up with me and it made me extra sensitive. And then some stuff went down that was hard and I should be able to get over, but because I was extra sensitive, it put me in a state of depression for a while. By the end of last year, I had gotten a lot better. I was on a lot more heavy antidepressants than what I'd usually been taking. And then kind of in the beginning of this year, I had come off completely of antidepressants, and that actually resulted in something that I didn't know was going to happen, and that my brain started moving way faster than it had been in years. And so that's why I suddenly started going ham on this channel, just putting out multiple videos a week, because suddenly I was getting all these ideas again because I was better. But I'm still, in a way, going through a bit of the trauma that I had experienced losing everything that I had lost. And often I'm reminded of all the friends I have lost over the years. I even remember a time several years ago when I first started doing ministry stuff and had my own small group, and I started this whole thing just me talking about stuff that I was passionate about, that I was learning about. And even back then I knew that the stuff I was talking about was a little outside of typical orthodoxy, and I had asked this group of friends that were a part of the group, hey, I was like really wanting to know. I was like, hey, personally, individually, I asked them, hey, if I ever end up like becoming a heretic, would you still be friends with me? And each and every one of them said, of course I will, Damon. And each and every one of those friends that I asked that day are no longer my friends today. I have a lot of stories like that. A lot of people that I really thought were going to always be there for me are just gone. Like I said, nothing personal against them. It just sucks when you think back at people you've lost. Even something I noticed about myself when I was getting really into depression last year was I was constantly hating myself. And even at times where I would be reminded of a certain thing that I lost or a certain thing that hurt me, I would like repeat this mantra to myself, like without even realizing I was saying it to myself. I hate myself. I hate myself. I hate myself, over and over and over. And after a while, I started to think, why am I saying that? Why do I keep doing that? Why do I hate myself so much? And I realized over time, oh, it's because a lot of people that loved me and were committed to me just disappeared. And my deepest self, the best way that it could possibly explain that loss was that something was deeply wrong with me. And that's why it happened. So that led to a lot of self-hatred that even today I'm still getting over. Last week I got a cold, and so I couldn't really do much, and I was alone with my thoughts because I couldn't really do much, and a lot of these old pains started coming back. And I was thinking back again to all the friends that I've lost, all the people that I wish would have stuck around, all the people and opportunities that I lost. And I started to think to myself, yo, was all of this even worth it? We all have those moments where we get really depressed and we think over the last years of our lives, and we think of all the bad that had happened over the last years, and we wonder, that's a lot of stuff that I wish I didn't have to go through. I mean, yeah, I could think of all the good things, but if I weigh them out, did the good things even make all the bad worth it? And I was asking myself that. Something that has helped me and realizing that my time within evangelicalism was worth it is the framing of I needed that community and that point of my life to give me the tools for spiritual growth, but I see it as I just kept growing. I just fully used them and kept growing until I grew out of it. So I'm fully thankful for everything that I was given within evangelicalism when I was there. But when it comes to the friends that I've lost over the years, it's a little bit more difficult to justify that and frame that in a way that makes me feel better. But then the other day, I was reminded of this scene at the end of one of my favorite movies from one of my favorite screenwriters, Charlie Kaufman, the movie Adaptation. Now, this is a very weird and wild, very meta movie where Charlie Kaufman literally writes about himself writing a script for a book that he was given to adapt into a movie, and he's losing his mind throughout the movie, and he writes for himself a fictional twin brother named Donald Kaufman, who's also writing a script, who's very carefree and no worry in the world and just wants to have fun writing something, while Charlie is very, very insecure and self-conscious, and it's really hard for him to write this thing. Both of them are played by Nicolas Cage, by the way, who is great in this movie. But anyway, toward the end of this movie, there's this scene that suddenly really, really spoke to me in the situation I'm in right now. When I first saw this years ago, it didn't really hit me that hard, but now this scene really hits me hard. And in this scene, Charlie tells his twin brother Donald, "I admire you, Donald, you know? I spent my whole life paralyzed, worrying about what people think of me." Which, by the way, I really relate with that, my whole life, definitely. And then he says, "And you're just oblivious." And then Donald says, "I'm not oblivious." And Charlie says, "No, you don't understand. I mean it as a compliment." And then Charlie tells him this story, how he was watching him through the library window while they were in high school one time. And he was flirting with this girl named Sarah Marsh. And Donald was really in love with her. And Sarah was so sweet to him. And then he watched Donald walk away. And Sarah turned to her friends and started making fun of him. And Charlie said, "And I felt like they were laughing at me, but you didn't know at all. You seemed so happy." But then Donald said, "I knew. I heard them." And Charlie said, "Well, how come you were so happy?" And then Donald said, "I loved Sarah, Charles. It was mine, that love. I owned it. Even Sarah didn't have the right to take it away. I can love whoever I want." And then Charlie said what I would have said.
"She thought you were pathetic."
And then Donald laughs and says, "That was her business, not mine." And then he says this line that really hits me. He says,
"You are what you love, not what loves you."
"You are what you love, not what loves you." That's what I decided a long time ago. Now, right here in this situation, this point in my life, that really affects me, because when I think about all of the friends that I've lost over the years, I depend so much of my own inner value and worthiness based on how people love me. The fact that so many people decided, it's not that important to keep in touch with Damon anymore. Peace out, Damon. Let's let go of Damon. Let's move on from Damon. I take that as, I guess there's something deeply wrong with me. And I realize I'm seeing myself based on who loves me and what loves me. But really, it's like the value in all those relationships that I had really came from the love that I felt for them. The fact that I got to experience love through my relationship with them coming from my own inner self was the value in those relationships and what makes those relationships worth it, even though they ended. That's something that I'm really trying to get through to myself these days. I got to experience a type of love through so many friendships that I once had, through the opportunities that I got to experience through being a part of the evangelical church, and now they're all gone, all got taken away, but they don't have the right to take away the love that I experienced that came from within myself. I can still celebrate that. I can still celebrate my time there. I can still celebrate who I am, even if other people have lost interest in me, because that's their business, not mine. So that's where I am right now on this journey in October 2019, and framing it that way has been really helpful for me. And I just wanted to let you all know a bit of my own story, open up a bit for y'all, because I know a lot of you who watch these videos have gone through very similar journeys. And so it's really is healing. Yeah, that's a good word for this, is healing, and wonderful to be able to be growing this community of a bunch of people who have gone through similar journeys, and we could be here for one another. We could share some of our horror stories, and we can share within this new journey that we're on. I hope some of you out there feel that way as well, as you've been watching these videos and interacting with me and interacting with other people who watch these videos. I want to continue to build this community where we really can be here for one another on this journey. And of course, we also need communities locally where we can be fulfilled in certain ways. It can't all just be online, and that's something I'm continuing to explore as well. Thankfully, I have found a couple communities locally that has been able to provide a new support system for me, and really helps me a lot with my sanity and my general growth. And so I do want to make some videos about like how to find local community as well. That's very important to me as well. So stick around for that. So there we go. That's all we got for today. Heart bleeding all over the table. Subscribe for more videos like this, and to hear me talk about progressive Christianity and liberation theology and leftist stuff. And thank you all who have already been subscribed for a while and are a part of this journey. I really appreciate you all and all your kind comments for sure. Also follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/whoisdamon, where we stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Also on there in the chat have been a lot of people interacting with one another and sharing their stories and talking about similar things that we've all gone through, and that has been really healing as well. Interestingly, I did not expect that when I started to get on Twitch, but that's how it works sometimes. Also, if you would like to support me and also get some exclusive content, a part of the Patreon community, you can follow me and become a patron on my Patreon, patreon.com/Damon Garcia, and I would greatly appreciate any supporters there. I appreciate you all. Shout out to everyone who's already there. Karen in Colorado, Ranger Jenny, Refined Your Scene, James Finlay, New Transcendentalist, Kristen Mouse, Mike Talkman, Peter John Blake, Mimi McGann, Rob Hutton, Jack Callie, Theory Plebe, Jacob McCarthy, Mike Lodato, Frank Morales, Socialist Sangha, They Were Monsters, and Julianne King. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.